it. Do it. Hit that button.
Padres are 7-0, extending their winning streak and extending Merrill Jackson. We're here to talk about it all on this episode of Padres Talking Padres. Hello, everybody.
I like how you did that. I like how you did that, Jay. That was good. That was
to Padres Talking Padres. My name is Jay. With me tonight are some of my favorite real life Padres. We've got Action Jackson, and we've got Jerry here. How are you doing, gentlemen?
Excellent.
Jerry doesn't get a cool name.
Just Jerry. Yeah.
Harry Jerry? I don't know.
Harry Jerry.
Harry Jerry.
The Padres win. The Padres win. Holy cow.
If you were a hot dog, would you eat yourself?
I should have had another beer.
But I will say, I think, and I'm glad Tamara's here. Hopefully she's paying attention live right now. And Oz, good to see you as well. Jerry, I should say it's anniversary, Jerry, because it's about the year mark since you joined this podcast, right? You joined us start of last season, right? Thereabouts?
Somewhere about, yeah. We did the first show, yeah. Thank you. So, I've enjoyed it despite Jack, yeah.
Happy anniversary.
I usually am that deterrent. People go, I'd love to do. Oh wait, Jack, I'm gonna take a pass.
And to celebrate that, we actually got you a little gift. So I don't know if Tamara can hand, if she can hear this right now. I hope we talked about this earlier. She's gonna hand you a package, I think, or
is it ticking?
Special.
Okay.
It's not ticking. I don't know if she's around, or maybe it's a delay.
I hear her talking on the phone in the other room.
She had one job to do.
One job. Hey, Tammy.
I don't even know what's going on. I have no clue.
Yeah.
I'll text her to say, like, just send it in then. But anywho, is she there? No? Okay. Let me text to say it's time to send in the clowns.
Send in the clowns.
No, it's an exciting time to be a Padre fan. Unbelievable.
So great.
How many people I ran into in the last 24 hours. And the first thing, of course, they know I do a Padre podcast. And, I'm obviously a San Diego Padre fan.
Uh-huh.
And just the sheer excitement and the radio station and everything else. Oh, here comes my wonderful wife with the package.
Perfect. Okay. So, if you could open it in front of the camera, just so we can share in this together live on TV.
See what we got here.
I bet you I know what it is.
Oh, you are the best, man. You are the best.
There we go.
Nice.
That
is awesome. That is awesome.
The Jackson Merrill bobblehead from this week. You said how much you wanted it, and you're kind of bummed you couldn't go to the game. So my Aunt Tammy, your wonderful wife, and I colluded together to get you this.
The Merrill Jackson one is more valuable, though.
Yeah, Merrill Jackson one. Yeah, that's pretty cool, guy. Thank you very much.
I didn't do anything.
This is unbelievable. The bat dropped.
Don't break it.
Well, Bud had the same problem. He dropped Merrill's bat too when he was showing it.
Look at that. Yeah. There it is.
Boom.
There it is, baby.
That's your son.
Yeah.
Merrill madness.
Yeah, that's going on. That's going on my shelf. That is cool.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Cool. Welcome.
Thank you.
Happy 1 year being on the show.
I've been here how long?
Yeah.
I got you a brick in Petco Park. Like, what more do you want from me?
That was,
and it's an awesome
Christmas.
brick too. I think that's pretty cool.
Isn't that cool? It's there in the stadium.
I still got to put it in my wall.
And
no, seriously, I have.
know.
Have you seen the brick, Jerry? You've seen the brick.
Yes, I have. Actually, I saw it at Petco Park.
Yeah.
No, I have a copy of it.
Yes. Yeah. You showed. I think you showed that last year when you guys got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it right in the wall.
Which is cool. I have to say I'm a little envious on that one, and I'm not asking for a brick, but I think.
Oh, now he wants a brick.
I think
got
that
the
is
bobblehead.
cool.
Now he wants a brick.
Let him finish his thought.
It's very cool that you can go in there and see your name and everything, and but yeah, that's cool. No, it's I was telling my son, Aaron, my favorite Padre. He's taken over Tatis. And I still love quite a few of the Padres as far as what they do and everything. But yeah, Jackson Merrill has been my favorite for a while.
I
And
was gonna say,
if you, what am I going to be done saying that for the rest of my life? I'm going to keep messing up. But yeah, it's funny. They had a radio show. I think I told you guys last year, the local radio station, Thursdays at 10 a.m. local time. They have basically a bunch of radio hosts, and they get around and they talk for 1 hour about the Padres. It's just solid Padres. Yeah. And it's kind of like a panel, and they talk about various questions and stuff like that. And so one of the things they talked about was the interview that he did at the press conference. And I thought him and Preller both were just magnificent. I watched it live. Just the way to hear Preller, you realize there's a pretty good human being in there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's a good guy, not just a GM, but a good guy. And then, man, the humility of a 21-year-old kid that just has the maturity. You just unbelievable. He really is.
He was raised right. That's all. I mean,
yes.
Yeah. Kudos to his parents. Raise a good son.
Yes, very much so.
I know Jack doesn't know what that's about.
We all can't get that lucky. Sometimes it's what you have to work with. I mean,
you did just fine. Yeah.
But no, it was really exciting. I think I got on my phone and I immediately screen tapped it and sent it to you both and said,
that's how I found out. I went, and then when I saw the amount, I said, "Holy crap!"
Yeah.
I mean, he could have got a Tatis type numbers, and he went just for. Yeah. I mean, he'll still be when the contract's over. He's still going to be young.
He's going to be 31.
31. Yeah.
I said, but that's a kid. I mean, I love the fact because a lot of people give Preller crap, and he had to take something from scratch. There was no Padre philosophy. There was no Padre, whatever the term is. And it's taken time, but the Padres now have a formula, and that's
Yeah, Machado was even asked about that, and again, humility on Machado's part. There was two things about the little quick interview with Machado. Is he was asked, "Is this what you and Peter and Eric, were you guys all talking about this?" And he very humbly, kind of like basically inferred, like, I'm just one of the pieces. But come on, you cannot help but think that Manny's had a lot to do with this as far as
absolutely
going out and getting guys and having a say about who you get and who you keep and things like that. Yeah. I think he had a great perspective. But the crack up was some reporter says, "Hey, now that Jackson has signed this big contract and all that, what's that mean as far as him having to take on a leadership role and out in the community?" And Machado, you let him finish the question. He goes, "Well, let's just slow down our roll a little bit with that." Yeah. I mean, he recognized, like, look, just because he's signed, let's let him be who he is. Let him be a Gold Glove center fielder. Let him just continue to grow with where he's at right now. But yeah, just slow the roll. Let's not put that. And I think great advice, because otherwise you're going to just overload this guy,
because we did that with Tatis.
You did kind of put too much on him too soon.
And I think he was young, and we kind of look, oh, he should what was he, 22, 23, and all of a sudden he's the face of baseball, and he's he was under a lot of pressure, and he made a lot of mistakes. And now he seems like he's growing up, and we try to put these guys on a pedestal or crown them too fast. I agree with Manny. Let Jackson be Jackson. Let him just go out there and play ball, hustle, play great defense, like you said, and timely hitting, and the energy he brings to the team. Just let him do that.
Exactly.
Well, let him be a team player, because that's what he is.
Exactly.
Right.
And they've even said, that he doesn't like to be in front of the camera. He's just like, look, I just want to be out there with my boys. I want to go out and win. Winning is the most important thing. That's all I care about. The rest of it, he made an inference to the absurd money out there, the 600 to 700 million dollar contracts that are out there. He said just absurd money. And I just found out, I'm sure you guys probably already heard, but the Players Association gave him grief before he signed it.
Yeah.
Telling him, hey, you're not making it good. You should get more, and it's like, man, when has it been wrong to want to play for a team to the point where you say, you know what, I don't need to break the bank. Well, you know what?
He's still breaking the bank. What I love is he has the perspective like this is still generational wealth. Probably will be $200 million when it's all said and done.
My family's family,
plus commercials and merchandise and everything else. But I kind of see the point of the Players Association. They have a job.
It's their job to raise the tide for all boats.
Again, I don't agree with it, but that's their job. Their job, like, hey, dude, you got to sign for more than that. But it's a good thing that Jackson Merrill, how they all offseason we heard what great moves it was so great for baseball what the Dodgers were doing. This is great for baseball when a small market team can sign and keep their players. That's what's wrong with baseball is because too many of these players go sign for 600, 700 million. Right. I mean, I know Vladimir Guerrero, they're talking, he might get 600, 700 million. I'm like going, I wouldn't pay that. I get hiccups. I wouldn't pay that. I don't think he's worth it.
I wouldn't pay it for Soto. I don't think he's worth that much.
Yeah, I don't either. But
the only one that it's worth it relatively is Ohtani, and they deferred most of that.
Well, Ohtani because he makes that back.
Yeah,
with the sponsorships from Japan and all that stuff.
It also goes to the argument that I've always had, guys, is that, and I know it's not this simple, but would you rather have 5 Jackson Merrills or 1 Juan Soto? Because that's kind of the equivalent of the money here.
Or even better, I think they did the math. Tatis, Machado, Merrill are all coming in less per season than Juan Soto.
Right. So, I mean, and again, it's not me banging, Soto and that the Mets want to pay him and all that. This is just me as a personal preference. I get it. I mean, look, I've said a long time, I'm not going to sit here and bang Soto like he's not a generationally good player.
Sure.
He's a great player. He does a lot of things right. We nitpicked a little bit with him, but the bottom line is I would much rather have 3 great players than 1 maybe fantastic player.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, I would argue
everything,
I would argue if Tatis is healthy, he's better than Soto.
Soto said the same thing. Soto said he's the best player in baseball.
Yeah, because he can do
everything.
Tatis can do it all. Soto is not good defensively.
Yeah.
He's not good on the bases.
The argument's always going to be, though, guys, is potential versus what you've actually done.
Oh, yeah.
And there is a huge chasm there because we can sit here and rightfully so be happy about signing Jackson Merrill. We can be very happy about it. But the fact of the matter is he's got 1 season behind him and 1 week. Mm-hmm. It's still yet to be proven. I get a little bit nervous when that same panel I was talking about starts talking about who could possibly be the greatest Padre of this generation. And I'm like, again, I'll use Manny's word, slow your roll here. Putting him against Tatis or Machado is unfair. Machado's 11 years in. Mm-hmm. Tatis even is 5 years in.
Yeah. Machado's well on his way to being a Hall of Fame player.
Yeah. So I mean, just slow the roll a little bit. Let's keep it in perspective. This is a great signing, but let's not put all that, the cart before the horses, they always say.
Let me plus in a couple chats here. Some congrats to you, Jerry. Congrats. Can send you a Yankee hat to commemorate the occasion.
Are you out of toilet paper?
They
got the torpedo bats. They're doing great.
I respect Michael enough. Michael, I would put that on my mantle. I would.
Wow.
Oh, but not his head.
Yeah, not on my head.
Awesome.
Good clarification, Jeff.
Tamara Glatfeller says my name is on the brick. It is. If anyone wants to go see it, hopefully no one desecrates it or something. It's right. It's in the Tony Gwynn area, right when you walk in. It's kind of right.
It looks at Tony Gwynn.
Yeah, it's kind of like dead. You can't miss it when you're walking in.
Yeah.
But you'll see it there. What does it say again? It says Glatfelter's.
Since 1969 or something like that.
Glatfelter is 69 to today. We love our
Do I have to
Padres.
get it's right over here? I could get it out if you want.
Anyway, take pictures with it and send it to us, and we'll share it on the show. Michael says, yeah, exactly. Michael says this is the cheapest way of signing talent for long term. Yeah. Get them young so you can pay them less. Christian Campbell got his extension today too. Michael also says there are fewer MLB players taking a bats after the age of 36, and more younger guys are getting called up by the time they're 22.
Because we're not juicing so far.
I respect Michael a lot. From a lot of his comments and following us and everything. Is that a fact, Michael, or is that kind of your perception? I think it's a perception thing, but I don't know if it's a fact. I know that the game is getting quicker. The pitchers are, back in our day, Jack, I mean, a guy throwing 100 miles, I remember, Nolan Ryan, oh man, he throws 100 miles an hour. Nobody threw 100 miles an hour back then, and now you've got, 3 or 4. So there you go. Fact. Okay.
Well, because they're not juicing anymore.
Well, I think the other thing is, I think there's a little bit of this. Number one, these kids are playing a lot more travel ball than they ever played, and the competition is getting higher, right? Second, knowing the owners, and we saw in the free agency market this last offseason, they're just not willing to shell out the money for 36, 37, 38-year-olds on a regular basis. I'd rather bring up this superstar 22-year-old. I mean, Michael, rightfully, Christian Campbell about his extension. It's worth a chance. I think the Padres are heading. I talked about it last week. I think the Padres are heading that way, but I think they're kind of biding their time and they're kind of trying to bring them in little waves, because they got the Salas and DeVries maybe a couple years down the line. But even Ornelas, I think he got sent down because they're like, you know what, let's give him one more year seasoning and then we'll bring them up. And that way we don't have just one big glut and then they're all gone. So.
I will say it's interesting. Today's AC Daily, kind of going back to the Merrill thing where, they tried to sign him long-term before he broke the majors twice. Yeah. And his managers told him no, like he shouldn't do it.
Right.
And in the article, they said Merrill had like a number in mind. And once the Padres got close, he was like, cool, let's do it. Which is pretty cool.
Can you imagine turning down that kind of money and thinking, I may never make the majors? And
right? It's kind of crazy.
That's kind of hard. I mean, if you sit there and go, okay, $80-90 million over 8 years. Yeah, it's just not going to work for me. I'm just like going, I'm not even in the majors yet, and they're offering me that kind of money.
I think a lot of it has to do with his confidence. I mean, he's very humble.
Yep.
But he's very confident in his ability.
He's very confident.
And so, at some point, we all look at, our work lives. And, I know, Jay, you're still working. I'm not. But I had times in my career where I took leaps of faith thinking, you know what? I know I can do this job. I'm going for it. And I remember one time I even took a little bit of a pay cut to go for it because I knew the roof was higher, so to speak. And, at a certain point, you're not going in blindly, but you're just saying, I'm going to turn down a little bit more money because I think I'm going to get even more money.
You're betting on yourself, right? Yeah.
I'm betting on myself, yeah. And, he's got that to the nth degree. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The guy is confident, but I just love his humility. I just love his humility and his maturity. Yeah. Good things.
And imagine we got Tatis and Merrill wrapped up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Through 34, right?
Through 34, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they'll both still be young.
As well as Machado.
Well, I'm saying you got 2 young players.
Yeah.
2 superstars wrapped up.
Well, that's the beauty of this, and that's what makes this such a relief because and you got to credit Merrill for being okay with it, but there was this feeling, especially post Peter Seidler dying, that that's it. We're not going to be able to. We had this little moment in the sun where we could sign the big players, and that's that. But be thankful we got what we got, and now we're back to the PV, Adrian kind of era,
right.
And
right.
And so this just kind of it extends this special run that the Padres have had, and like they've said the only way they've been able to kind of hit out past their kind of weight class or whatever payroll wise is because the stadium's filled with people. This is
Yeah.
how you keep the stadium filled with people. You keep locking up your star young players. It was Peter Siler saying it's not rocket science. When fans know that their favorite players are going to be on the team and for a long time, they want to go see their favorite players. It's not rocket science, and it worked. It's been working.
And that was that was a Padre problem for so long, as you get attached to a player other than Tony Gwynn.
Yeah.
You get attached to a player. Oh, Alomar's gone. Oh, okay. Oh, this guy's gone. Oh, okay. This guy, and plus they weren't replacing him with better players. They were just getting rid of him because they didn't want to pay it, whatever it was. And you can't expect fans to come out and pay the kind of money you have to pay to go to a game to watch crap. You want to, if you're going to watch crap, you want to see a player. Like I said, we went to games because of Tony Gwynn and Trevor Hoffman. We went to those games because we wanted to see them play.
Yeah.
If they weren't there, I probably wouldn't have gone to the games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just saying.
100%. And the more the better too, because I think that's the strength of this team. They talked to people talked about how Preller has extended the window of opportunity for the Padres, and I think that was the best framing of the words that I heard was extending the window by saying it's not just this year, because a lot of people felt, myself included, felt that 23 or 22 and 23 were like, we're going after it, and that's going to be it. If we don't get it, then I wasn't necessarily looking for fire sale, but I'm thinking, okay, if we don't get it, then we're done.
Retool or whatever.
We retool the people around Tatis and Machado, and and we'll go with the best we can and everything. And now we've talked about it so many times. You guys talk about the fans, which is 100% correct. I talk about the draw. You now have a little bit of a draw.
Yeah.
Look, our neighbors up north, we can disrespect them all we want as far as don't like them and the way their division and all that. But the bottom line is you can say with all honesty, they have built that kind of a culture where if you come here, we're going to put winning teams together. We're going to put other players in with you. We're not going to just, sell it for 2 years and then boom, it's gone. And now the Padres, I believe, are in the same conversation. Maybe not the dollar-wise, but the same conversation. The NL West is so stinking loaded this year.
Oh my God, it's insane.
Except Colorado.
Except
I wrote
Colorado.
on X last night. I did a tally, and except for the L East, I believe it was. I think the NL East was close, but the NL West was 25-7. That included the Rockies at 1-4.
Yeah,
25-7. The next closest to them, I believe, was the AL East, and I believe there were like 3 games over 500. You can't help but look at this division and go, wow, this is going to be a dogfight this year.
Well, between 3 teams, they'd have 1 loss.
Yeah.
The Giants, Padres, and Dodgers, there's 1 loss. I mean, that's insane.
And I can only imagine guys doing this, what we do for the Giants and Diamondbacks are probably saying the same thing we've said over the years, like, hey, look at us, hey,
we're here.
We're here too,
Oh, I'm not forgetting about the Giants. Are surprised me a little bit, but they're
playing good baseball right now. They're playing clean. I don't think they have an error yet. They're playing really good baseball.
The Diamondbacks are money. They're a good team.
Yeah.
I think they're kind of 2 sides of a coin. Yeah. The Diamondbacks have great offense. Giants have great pitching, but Diamondbacks have good pitching too. Like maybe just bad bullpen.
Yeah.
Well, I think the Diamondbacks got the more power right now. The Giants are kind of vicariously living through Wilmer Flores, who's just all of a sudden he's got 4 home runs already this year.
He does that a lot.
They got a couple of home run hitters, Max Chapman and things like that. But look, I'm not getting carried away with the 7-0. I know you guys aren't either. I think it's great because they got off to a good start. That's the important part of it. You're going to have the throes of a roller coaster as the year goes on, but to be able to get off to a good jump start, because if you're the Colorado and let's say you were actually a good team, sorry Colorado, but if you're actually a good team, you got to be looking up, going, holy crap! I mean, that's 4 teams I got to get, and that's just my division. That's not even baseball,
Well, I think that's where it's frustrating being a Rockies fan is the ownership. Doesn't look like there's any plan or any what are we doing here? And that thing used to be filled with fans. That stadium used to be rocking, and now, like you said, they got they're the 5th team, and they're not even close to the other 4 teams.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though we struggle with the Rockies.
I don't think they've even had their home opener yet.
No, and
how much do you want to go to a game when you're like, let's see, 8-0, 7-0, 5-1, like really? Like we're
5-2. I think the Diamondbacks were for today.
It's not even Memorial Day, and I'm already, like, do you want to go to a game? Not really. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like well, maybe I can get the wild card. Nope, not when the 4th place team is already 5 games up on me, and they're not even in the wild card. So, again, as a Padre fan, I can sympathize with Rockies fans because we've been there so many times. Yeah. So
absolutely,
I don't. People, they don't show up. Well, you know what? They're not going to show up if the owner doesn't care. I mean, it's bottom line.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Agreed. Agreed.
Let's talk about this article here. I thought it was a fun article by Tom Krasovic. Padres have superstar with Derek Jeter's winning obsession. I think what has me the most excited about Jackson Merrill is just like he has a mentality that's very rare, like just very. It's kind of it's odd. There was another article in The Athletic where baseball card collectors are kind of peeved because he doesn't always give his full signature on the baseball cards. There's like you can get a baseball card with a signature on it.
Yeah,
and sometimes he just puts a J. And in that article, it's just like. I want to play baseball. I don't want to sit here and sign a bunch of baseball cards. Like I'll do it for, I'll do it sometimes if it's a more rare card, but if it's just whatever, I'm just putting a J on there. And so you can look it up, and some of the Jackson Merrill cards are just a J with nothing else on it.
Well, to be fair, I think that baseball card collecting, we've all done it from time to time. I know Jerry was really into it for a while. But it's for the kids. When you're signing an autograph and you have these adults going, "Hey, sign this." There's a great video of Tony Gwynn at El Cajon 4, wherever it was. He was signing autographs, and this guy said, "Well, you owe me." He goes, "I owe you?" Because I bought your jersey. He goes, "You didn't buy that for me." And it's if you haven't seen it, it's a great, because it's like, man, the balls on that guy saying that. And Gwynn, obviously was pissed. It's so. It should be for autographs, should be for the kids, and like I said, I've got
with baseball cards, it's not, because those cards are worth thousands of dollars.
I get that, but I understand what Merrill's saying.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I get. I love that singular focus on winning, because I think that breeds. I don't know, that breeds a mentality that's good for this team, and it aligns so well with Mike Schilt.
Yeah, I'm just glad Jack sounds like the old guy now. So.
Just saying. Just saying.
All right. Anything else to say about Merrill Jackson before we talk about our 7-0 start?
No,
right.
I think we covered it. They recovered.
Okay.
It. Yeah.
7-0. Can you believe it? And of course, we go 7-0, and the Dodgers are 8-0. But whatever. We're not here to talk about them. But let's talk about this 7-0 start. Jerry, we were here last Thursday, and you said, I think 5-1, because there had already been one win.
Yeah.
And I will fully readily admit, both Jack and I, or at least me, I was like, no way, not a chance in hell are we going 5-1. And what did you say? What was something?
Well,
why
you
chose.
Talk about the text that I sent you guys. I said after the last pitch, I said, I want to formally apologize to the San Diego Padres for underselling their ability to go 6-0. I picked 5-1. I can only imagine. I said I can only imagine how you two feel. So.
But see, I can never remember what I picked. So I was pretty.
You did 4-2, and I think I did. Did I do 3-3?
You did 3-3.
Yeah. So
no, I saw a team, to me, and
just one game. By the way, Jerry, just one game. You're saying you saw this, but okay, go ahead.
No, I saw this in the way that they prepared. I like their spring training. If you remember right, not that I care about records, but there was a lot of emphasis on the Padres the first half of spring training. Oh my gosh, they're the worst record in baseball. Mm-hmm. And of course, I find that silly because spring training, you're looking at guys and I felt like that they were doing. I had a confidence that they were doing the right thing on the backfields. They were getting prepared in their own way. It's like I don't need it to be in my starting lineup of my spring training game. And despite the fact that I don't care about spring training, they did finish with a flurry. And I like the idea that they took a couple of days off. It made me nervous, before the start of the season, but they didn't have a spring training game Tuesday or Wednesday, which I thought was a little odd because almost every other team had Tuesday. But I'm sorry. I keep looking at this lineup, and I know I'm a Padre fan. I am just brown and gold, to my soul, so to speak. But I can't help but look at this lineup and this pitching staff and just think, man, this is a great team. They got all the bells and whistles. The offense, the speed, the defense is just amazing.
So good.
And
love having Cronenworth back at second.
Yeah, they got the starting pitching. They've got the bull. I mean, and they got a great manager. So I think that you look at the total package, and a lot of times you go into a season. Most teams do. We're a little short here, or we're a little worried about this, and we got our little 8-9 hitters that we kind of worry about here and there, and maybe that fifth.
Oh, Marty Maldonado got a couple hits. I didn't expect that.
But they're showing the confidence that I have in them by just playing, quite honestly, almost flawless baseball.
It's been a sight to see. We've watched some bad Padre baseball in this good run for the Padres the past 5 years or so. But this is probably the best, most cohesive. I mean, actually, back half of last season, they seem to have continued that run that they had up into the postseason, and that to me is the part that makes me the happiest, because there was a concern of that 24 inning scoreless streak. It's like, God, is there gonna be a little bit of a hangover going into the season? But I'm glad they just seem to be continuing the excellence they showed at the end of last season.
I actually thought that was more of an incentive.
We do it once. Jack, go to your thought, and then Jerry, your thought.
Yeah. I think they were. It's amazing. Because to me, I would be thinking about it.
Yeah,
I'd be like, we went over 24. That's just how my brain works. They were able to go, all right, new season. We're moving on.
And the greats need to be able to do that, right? They're able to. Trevor Hoffman, able to
I would not be able. I'd be thinking about it until I started hitting again.
Yeah.
Just be in my head.
I think it incentivized them a little bit. And look, I said this before. The problem wasn't going 24 innings without scoring. It's when it happened.
Exactly.
And the fact that it hadn't happened all year. I really honestly think that if it would have been, 3 or 4 blotches as the season went through, and you could kind of point back and say, but it happened there, and we went 17 innings there and everything. I think it was just obviously when it happened. It was the most unopportune time. Yeah. Obviously, it cost them a chance to try for the World Series.
Yep.
But other than that, these guys are pros. I mean, they've got this innate ability to be able to forget just enough to want it more. And you can't tell me that they, probably the opposite of what you're saying, Jack, is they thought about it enough. They don't want to hear it. Like, okay, the only way I can stop this, let's just go out there and do what we do. Yep. And it's there. But they also, this is a very, even despite we've got some younger guys, I think that's the whole idea behind having the veterans, the guys.
Exactly. The core is there. Yeah.
Well, it's not just the core too, Jay. You think about the guys that they went out and get, and everybody's too old, and grandfathers and all that kind of stuff. But almost every one of these guys has won a World Series or been on World Series teams. And so, there's something to be said about having that age, experience, wisdom, whatever you want to call it.
As long as they're not playing every day, I have no problem. I just don't want to see some of these guys playing every day. I'm just like going.
I, for one, love Hayward. I think he's putting in some.
I think it's a.
You hate Hayward.
It's a better performance, right? And again, 7-0. Don't take too much from it because they're 7-0. Yeah. And also don't take too much out of the fact that somebody only has 2 or 3 hits so far. Everybody has their time. I mean, otherwise, I guess the Luis Ariz should have been sent to the minors after 4 games.
You're right.
No, the problem is Ariz has proven for the last 3 or 4 years that he has been one of the top hitters in baseball. The other guys have obviously faded. Again, I don't mind them being on the team, spot starting, pinch hitting. But when they're out there every day, it's like, we can't do better than this. Yeah. I mean, that's, and I get we're 7-0, but
let's not harp on the negative. Jared, a really good idea of MVPs of this homestand.
Well, obviously it was me.
So, Jerry, it was your topic idea. Do you want to pick first, second, or third?
I'll go last.
Last. Okay.
Yeah.
Jack, do you want me to go first?
I'll go second.
Okay. My pick is going to be, I mean, there's a lot. You'd probably pick Tatis or Merrill, but I'm going to go with the man they're affectionately calling Derry Bonds. Yes, I'm talking about Gavin Sheets.
Holy Sheets.
Holy Sheets. Which I love that chant. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing.
That's a great pick too.
It's and just I know it's early, but God was hitting 500, over 1,000 OPS, looking
even when he makes an out, it's hit hard.
Yeah, and
I didn't realize he was so big. He's a big guy.
He's a big dude, and if he continues that, like that's that kind of magic piece, Jerry, that you're talking about, and Jack, you're talking about, of like what we had with Profar last year. You're signing that guy, and I think it was like Jay, you said, like you're getting 5 of these or whatever, and you hope a couple pan out. If he keeps panning out like that, he could be our Brent Rooker because he's under control through 28. And had just hit the ball really well, was the hero, I would say, of the first game. He had the late home run that kind of broke the tie. And yeah, I just think he's one of those players you need to hit or just kind of pop to make a special season. And it's early, I know, but definitely an MVP of
I think that's a good pick. That's
Does it have to be a player, or can it be
no? You can pick the bullpen if you want to.
Bullpen. I'm picking the bullpen because they don't give up any runs. I mean, you look at the Dodgers, and I've watched the Dodgers. Are they going to elucidate? Once they get to their bullpen, other than Tanner Scott, they don't give up any runs. They have such a good offense and that's where the Padres are. Padres offense is good enough. They fall behind, which we really haven't been behind too much. But when the starter goes out, I have full confidence in even Wandy Peralta.
Yeah.
I mean,
which I would not have said before.
I would not have said, and he looks like the old Wandy Peralta.
He just needs to not try to field a ball, okay, Wandy?
Yeah, get out of the way, Wandy. But I would go with I think the bullpen. I think the reason why the Padres and Dodgers are both undefeated right now is their bullpen.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it's the bullpen. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah. Good pick.
Okay.
Great pick.
Well, I'm going to go a little off center here. And to me, this was a momentum shift at the most important time. I'm going to go with Randy Vasquez.
Oh, yeah.
Randy Vasquez came in after Michael King and Dylan Cease struggled, used up a lot of our bullpen. I was very nervous about that third game because I thought, man, if he goes out there and lays an egg, that bullpen's already tired. You already had, I think, 3 guys or 4 guys that were unavailable. And I thought that him coming in and throwing not just, 6 innings and getting by and everything, he turned the coin flip on that, man. He just boom.
Yeah.
Now you go to Pavetta, which ended up being perfect because now it's like, now we go to a little bit more sure thing. And since that time, boom, the starters, Pavetta, Hart, and back to King, and then to Cease. And it's just like everything started clicking with that start. Oz is right. I mean, I think we were all trying to go a little bit off center, so to speak.
Tatis is
Tatis is there. Merrill is there.
Yeah.
I think, to me, that when I think about MVP, I think about somebody who went above and beyond what your expectations are.
Yeah.
This isn't the MVP voting at the end of the year that, we'll do where, oh, well, this is obviously the best guy, because I don't like getting into that. Well, yeah, but this guy did better. That's like the manager of the year. They always give it to somebody that had a team that they thought was going to end up under 500 and they made the playoffs. And it's like, oh, he must be the best manager. And you're like, no, who won the most games? I mean, isn't that kind of the level of, what?
Well, it depends on the team. There's a certain team I would give it to. Yeah, that's okay.
Hey, but yeah, I thought that he turned the series around by giving them the quality innings.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
It's a great.
And we'll see. I want to see
6 innings, right? 6 innings.
6 innings.
Yeah, he went 6 innings and didn't give up a run, I believe.
And
he has the stuff. He has the stuff to be a star.
And
it's a reminder that he had 20+ starts last year and did a good job for us. Much like Waldron. I mean, him and Waldron kind of got forgotten in the winter. Like, oh, these guys, they both ended up with a little higher ERAs, but I think both of them, if you went back and looked, they maybe had a handful of starts that were really, really bad that just totally obliterated their ERA. Yeah.
Because I know Vasquez started out slow, but I like Vasquez. It's funny though. The other day, I'm trying to think. It was yesterday. I'm like going, who's going to be pitching the next game? Because we have this, and I couldn't remember Vasquez. I'm like going, I got hurt at this. I go, who the hell? I had to look it up. I go, Vasquez. Jesus.
But I do think you're right, Jerry, because just even from a perception perspective, because I was like, okay, well, at least we won the first two because this next one we're probably not going to win. Yeah. And the fact that he held them to 0 runs, we only won that game by 1 run. It was a 1-0 win.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And even that 1 run, we kind of had to manufacture that run. That was the double off the foot that started that.
Right.
Yeah.
And Jerry, you're 100% right. Like and that could have given the Braves the confidence to come in stronger on the Sunday, but losing 3 in a row, you could see kind of broke the Braves a little bit and still broke the Braves. I mean,
they're reeling. Yeah, they're reeling. Yeah. I mean,
now you're reeling on that game, and then you have to go face the Dodgers, and that didn't work out too well. I feel bad for the Braves. I really do.
Well, I feel sorry for any team that loses so many players to either injury or whatever it might be, and I know Jack's giving me that look, and yes, even at the Dodgers, when you lose your whole starting staff, it sucks. I mean, we're baseball fans. I want to beat the best. I want the Dodgers to be healthy this year because when we beat them, I want them to be full force. I don't want to hear any yapping about.
You're gonna hear it. They're yappers. You're gonna hear it no matter what.
Then let them. But I'm just saying, I don't have to take any of it if they're at full force. I like the way we match up against them. Bring it on. Bring it on. Yeah.
But in the Schilt era and having the Padres way, I think we match up very well with them.
We won the series last year. We won the season series. So yeah.
Michael, I hope the Braves get to go to Disneyland or Knott's Berry. This West Coast trip has been
World, Legoland,
yeah. Because when the season started, we would have been picked. I don't think we did predictions of division. I might have picked the Braves to win it. I mean, you look at their division because you look at their lineup.
I personally like the Phillies better, but it's not a bad.
You look at their lineup and you go, "There's no way I would have said they're 0-7."
Yeah.
There's
no. I mean,
it's like even yesterday, I was watching some of the game. Muncie had 2 errors. They're up 5-0. Then it was 5 or whatever it was, and then they had 2 outs. Muncie's up, 2 outs, runners at second and third, and the pitcher just throws the ball right down the middle of the plate.
Well, it was De Los Santos.
No, what? Santos.
He gave up the home run to Shohei. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Iglesias or something like that. And I go, that's your 3-2 pitch to Max Muncie.
Also, the Braves didn't have better relievers for that. Like you finally are winning a game and you didn't put out your best pitchers. Or maybe
I don't know what's going on with the Braves because the Braves of about 3 years ago made a very Merrill madness kind of thing. They went out and they signed all these young guys to these contracts, and to me they were ahead of the game. They were they were the first organization that went out and signed these guys to all these 7 and 8 year contracts. So the Olsen, the Riley, Acuna, Strider, and they went out in full force and signed all these guys. And I remember looking at them being envious and going, well, dang, man, they've got like 5 or 6 guys that are going to be around for the next 8 years. Yeah. And they're really, really good, you know? So, now, I look at the Padres and we're that team, and maybe I know a lot of people, oh my gosh, we're ancient. We're 30 years, they're 31 years old. My gosh, give it a break. That's actually the prime years, 29 through 32.
It is.
So I mean, get out of here with the whole grandpa. I get it, the joke with the Haywards and the Gurriels and stuff like that.
Well, Gurriel, let's face it.
Come on, 31.
He's grandpa, man. He's old.
He's 100. Yeah, he's 100.
And he's probably older. He's probably older than what he says.
But he's not playing much.
I know. I'm kidding. Yeah. We're all kidding. Okay.
Which again, I'm perfectly happy with. I don't mind being on the team.
Let's move on to the next subject here. Let's talk about Jared's another topic you wanted to bring up, but I think it's a good one to talk about. It's early in the season, but still interesting and fun to talk about. So we know Preller We know he likes to make his trades. And as you look at this team, it's not a perfect team. Could probably, get a hitter here or there, everywhere. Maybe some more relievers. Who knows?
Yeah.
What is the type of player or a player that Preller should target, or maybe should target, to fill in any gaps we have right now? Jerry, why don't you kick us off this time?
Yeah, I will go first on this one because I have a very specific player, and it's not really a surprise.
Okay.
And the fact that he's dealt with this team
Babe
numerous
Ruth?
times. No, I think they should go get Alcantara.
Sandy Alcantara. That's it. Yeah.
I think he's proven in 2 starts that his arm's okay. I think he had one really good start and one not, okay-ish, but not, not great.
His second start, I think, was better than his first.
But the fact of the matter is that, that's another arm that we could go get. I honestly don't think that the bullpen needs any more. It's not, to me, last year where you kind of, you had to go get Adam and Hoeing and Scott, because there was definitely some problems the first couple months of the year we've covered before where the bullpen was blowing some games, and Matsui hadn't really adjusted yet. Yeah. I think the bullpen is fantastic as it sits. I know we have some depth. We have Kolick and Waldron, and when Darvish comes back, we're going to have enough. But to have somebody, because they're talking about Darvish, and wouldn't it be great to just let him pitch about once a week? Just not forget the 5-day rotation.
Yeah,
just put him in there like once every 7 days. Save the bullets for later.
Yes, agreed.
We kind of kid about Glass now because for the Dodgers, and it's like I would just tell Glass now, hey, come back in July and we'll start you. Because I mean,
it's true. It's true.
I feel for the guy. The guy's obviously got electric stuff, but he never can go more than 100 innings.
No.
And there's a few pitchers like that. And to me, that's where having a 7th starter, an 8th starter would help.
Absolutely.
And you got him. If you get Alcantara, you get him for this year and next year. And let's face it, Preller seems to be working with the offense now for structure, and the pitching is going to come later. And I think that's where he needs to get protection in case King and Cease both leave. And getting a guy that you can have control for one more year would at least maybe alleviate a little bit of the worry. Musgrove, obviously, we think will come back. Darvish is still got another couple of years on his contract. I feel a little bit more secure knowing that, as good as they're pitching right now or, for one game, but that Hart and Vasquez and Waldron are not your 3, 4, 5. I think it'd be really nice to get somebody like that. And I think he's gettable. So that's my guy. Yeah,
that's a great pick. Great pick. You're right. If you don't extend King or Cease, you need controllable good pitchers.
And I have a question for you after we're done here.
Okay.
So.
Is there anyone from the Yankees we can fleece again since we got King and I'm kidding.
Hey, you can't. They got what they wanted. They got Soto. They don't go to the World Series without Soto, I think. No. So they got what they wanted.
I know. I'm just rubbing it in.
So did we at the time. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I can't argue with Jerry. I think a starting pitcher, you can never, again, you have to look at who you're chasing and who's the team you have to get by to get to the World Series. And it's Phillies have great pitching, but the Dodgers have even better pitching. They have so much depth in their pitching staff. So I think Jerry's right. You got to go out and get a top-notch pitcher, not a guy he may be good or a guy who was good 3 years ago, a guy. You want to get a guy that has number one type stuff. Because that if you have King, Cease, and whoever, a number one guy, then Darvish, then Darvish is your 4th pitcher. So I think and Pivetta is your 5th pitcher, your 5th starter. And there's going to be injuries. Every team has them. So I agree with Jerry. I think a starting pitcher is the way to go. I think they're already in left field platoon right now.
Any that come to mind for you? So Jerry went with Sandy Alcantara.
I was actually thinking him too because I know they've talked about it, and
What other ones are there that are like kind of ace-ish level pitchers on?
I think when you start talking about it, Jay, you kind of have to go with who's not really in it for this
exactly.
year? who could use some prospects and things
Yep.
like that. This is a kind of
and
deal.
who's cheap.
Yeah, and you're probably going to have to wait, till you get closer to the
Yeah.
All-Star break or the trading deadline.
I know they gave us a rise early last year, so
Well, that's one of the reasons I pointedly said Alcantara, because he's got a history of trading with Florida. He's obviously got some kind of a good vibe with them and everything. And I'm not advocating our top prospects. I'm talking about maybe a side player that you can say, hey, you know what, we can give this guy up. He probably wouldn't come that cheap though, so that's always a difficult one. Because
I will say this though, I do see Preller packing the bullpen at the trading deadline.
Well,
you can never have enough guys. Again, it's an arms race. You can never have enough guys. If you can go out there and get another Tanner Scott type guy or Adams, you have to do it.
Yeah, but Jack, they're going to have. I mean, they're going to have no. I'm just saying they're going to have a problem when Hoeing and Reynolds come back.
I get it, but I'm
who do they send down?
I know it's a rough problem to have. I mean, I was watching Tanner Scott.
Right.
He doesn't look like he's throwing as hard as he did with the Padres.
Using Google AI, here's the list.
Okay.
Of good pitchers that could be traded this season. Number 1 on that list, Dylan Cease. Number two,
Michael King.
No, Michael King is actually not on this list.
Really?
Sandy Alcantara is number 2.
Okay.
He'd be my number 1 choice. I agree with you.
I think so. Jesus Luzardo's already signed with whatchamacallit, right? Didn't he already sign with the Phillies or get traded to the Phillies?
Yeah.
Jordan Montgomery.
I think. Yeah.
Jordan,
he's out for a year. Tommy John.
Yes, Tommy John.
He's out. Okay.
Yeah.
You could do Jack Flaherty, trade him again from the Tigers.
I wanted Jack Flaherty. I wanted Jack Flaherty in the offseason.
Yeah.
Manny might not have wanted Jack Flaherty.
He'd have him on the team in a heartbeat. I guarantee you.
Well, he could finally
get
that
on your team. Yeah, once they're on the team.
Well, Detroit. What kind of contract did he sign with Detroit?
2 years.
I don't know.
Just 2 years.
2 year. Yeah.
What about
if they falter, he'll probably be offered again. So that's an option.
What about Luis Castillo? I think there's been rumors we kind of kicked those tires.
Look, if anybody can answer me why the Mariners have not traded at least one of their starters for some absolutely hitting, I have no clue what that organization's doing.
Right?
How can you have five great starters and yet you refuse to address your offense?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Oh, wait. They signed Cal Raleigh to a 5-year deal. It's like, I get that. As a good
I want to trade for Cal Raleigh, to be honest with you.
But if you've already got somebody, that doesn't count in my mind. I mean, it's
agreed.
Like by even signing, Jackson Merrill to a long-term contract, it's like, yeah, but we already had it. So I can't count that as an addition. We were going to have him for 5 more years.
It was an addition 5 years from now. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. When he gets to he gets to year 7, then it matters. Yeah.
But I'd like to have Cal Raleigh.
Well, they're not.
So Jay, my question to you, and I'm gonna flip the question a little bit for you, right? Which would you do? Would you trade for? Let's even use Alcantara. Would you trade for Alcantara so that you could have him this year and next year, or would you use the money to try and extend Michael King?
I think it's a question of do you do King or Cease? Cease is probably less likely because he's a Boris guy.
I think he likes it there though. I think he
does.
It's hard though because I thought that about Blake Snell. I mean, I really did. I thought Blake Snell would stay. I really do.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know. It's just King's tough because he's older, but he has less mileage on the arm, presumably because he was a reliever.
Right.
But both of you have said it. Like I don't like the idea of a long-term extension for a pitcher.
Hard to avoid.
It's tough.
It's hard to. Well, that's why I thought it was. That's why I thought when I saw Flaherty signed for, I believe it was 2 years. I'm pretty sure it was 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. Yeah. See, that's the kind of deal I would make.
Sure. Absolutely.
and again, we don't know the money situation. We know that they're already going above and beyond what they said they were going to do, or people inferred they were going to do. I should correct myself. They never said they weren't going to do it. They just said, we have a number in mind, and everybody said, that number must be where you're at because you're not signing anybody, right?
It's Kevin Acey who stirs the pot.
Yeah.
AC does stir the pot for sure.
Yeah. But, you sit there and you say, how much money can you afford right now? And that's a different subject than how much can you afford in 3 years. We know the escalation on Tatis's contract goes bazoom here next year and the year after. And, and Manny's goes bazoom next year, I believe it is. And so him and Bogarts and Tatis are over 100 million, but just by themselves.
Bogarts is the same I think Bogarts is
25 every year. Yeah. Every year. I'm just saying though, the three of them, they explode to like 100 million.
But a lot comes off next year. Like I think they're playing.
You're losing Hosmer next year, and
and then this extension for Merrill, he doesn't make above like $1 million or whatever for a few years. He doesn't start.
He got a $10 million signing bonus,
but that's spread out over 5 years. I think the $10 million. At least in the AC article today, it said he gets like $1 million this year, $3 million next year. It's spread over.
I don't get to read AC. I've heard I'm actually one of the lucky people, but
his newsletter is free. I will say his newsletter is free.
I can't even get it free. I tried to get it free and it denied me. Yeah. So anyway, but I haven't seen the details of Jackson's contract yet. So they really haven't gotten it on. They haven't gotten it online yet to what it is. The funny thing is when I went up and looked at multi-year this morning, just thinking, oh, maybe they got it up, and they may by now have it. The only thing they had on there was the $30 million way up at the end. Everything else was ... And then at the very end, there's a 30 million red. Team option, because it's a team option until he gets to the top 5 of the MVP, and then it turns into a player option, which is very unique. It's again that confidence thing. If I end up in the top 5, then that becomes a player option. So,
Yep. All right.
So I didn't get the answer, but it is kind of
I don't know. Really I guess that's my answer. I don't know.
Well, because he's still making what, $17 million a year, right?
Who?
Alcantara. He's making $17 million a year.
He's not cheap. Yeah, he's
so.
But again, neither was Arise, and they paid for his last year. So
Never
kind of deal you might be able to get.
Yeah, I would go for the trade just for like you said, this year. You have him, and I'd make the trade anyway. If you can sign King and Cease later on, gravy. If you can't, well, I've got a replacement for one of them. So now you only have to replace one that you're losing. Like I said, King, I don't know. It's a tough choice between both because Cease is an innings eater, but so King is just he's on when he is on, he's unhittable.
Agreed.
Actually, they're both.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they're both different styles of pitchers, but I look at them both the same. When they're on, they're just unhittable. And we haven't had, in my estimation, we have not had a pitcher like either one of them since Jake Peavy left, where you just dialed in and said, okay, you watch the first 2 innings and you already know what you're going to get. I mean, 95% of the time, if in 2 innings they're out, they've struck out 4 guys, you're like, okay, this is it. It's just a matter of how many innings is he going to be able to go.
That might be King's biggest problem is he strikes out too many people.
Yeah, too many pitches.
I think it's Cease's problem too. Problem. Yeah.
What's the problem with any strikeout pitcher, right? Is just they have to pitch a lot more.
But you know what? I wouldn't trade it because you know what? In today's world and with the bullpen we got, give me 5 or 6. I love 6, but give me 5 or 6 either one. You give me 5 or 6 shut down innings. These guys, these other hitters have got to be so perplexed by the time you bring in the bullpen.
Exactly.
Like, oh my gosh, thank you for bringing somebody else in. Oh, wait, they throw 98 miles an hour. Oh, wait, Adam Ball goes across the frame, So, it's when you got this many good pitchers and arms in the bullpen. That's what it was. Manny and Tatis, they were interviewing him. And it's like, how hard is hitting a baseball? Oh, it's really hard.
Yeah,
it's really hard.
Especially when it's moving.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think
it's easy when it's going straight.
Yeah. I think that Preller's motive in all this is to build the offense so he doesn't have to worry about it anymore. And basically, he can focus on pitching from here until 2034.
Plus,
Because really, he doesn't need much more offense than what he's already got. That front six is dynamite. I know Arise will probably end up leaving, but when you got what they've already got, not too many teams can tout 5 guys with what they got right now. So
well, according to
pick up the sheets and you go pick up the guys, 1-year guys and 2-year guys.
According to the experts in the minors, our pitching is what we have the best of. It's lower level. It's lower level, but that's where a lot of our. If you look at the rankings of our, minor league system, it's pitchers are best overall because the 2 best are, obviously.
We have a new person in the chat. I do want to plus them in here. Eric White.
Okay.
Welcome.
Yeah. Hey, Eric.
We never had this many good pitchers in one rotation in years. Just gotta keep them.
We've got a lot of them. There's no doubt about it. I think I would expand that to the pitching staff. I think is better than we've ever had, because I'm sorry I don't have that kind of recollection, but I'm sure we've had other years where we've had some pretty good starters. But yeah, when you go to 4 and 5, yeah, I think we're stronger, but not like lights out stronger.
Sure.
But yeah, the bullpen has never been in better shape than it is right now, and I find it very comforting that we have been so fortunate. We got Nuebla now, but we had Balsley before, and he was doggone good too. So we've had some really good starting pitchers. And I'll go back a few years. Rest in peace, Kevin Towers had a thing about drafting pitchers, and he always said, "I can always trade pitchers for hitting."
Mm-hmm.
He was always great at building a bullpen, though, Kevin Towers.
And that's the thing, though. But the thing I used to disagree with him is, but you got to find somebody that comes to the major leagues as a pitcher. If you keep drafting pitchers and they don't turn out, you've got no hitters, and that was always the problem. We never had any hitters coming up. There was a time where we were like, okay, so Tony Gwynn, when's the next time we're actually going to get an actual hitter to come through? We had snippets of this guy and that guy, but we were always having to trade for them. Yeah.
No, we traded Alomar.
We had to go trade for them too. Well, I could argue the Alomar trade because I like that trade. So yeah.
All right, we are at the hour mark here. It's time to share our predictions for the next set of games until next Thursday, the next off day. We are going to be away.
Cubs
first stop in the Windy City at Wrigley Field on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I think it's Vasquez.
So we're playing at one of the more classic ballparks in Major League Baseball history to go and play at Oakland in a minor league ballpark.
Yeah. Sacramento now.
That should not be happening. But
agreed. The games there have kind of been a farce. Cubbies have been playing well. They played against the Athletics and scored like 80,000 runs. Yeah. Who wants to go? Jerry, you won last week with your 5-1 prediction, closest to the 6-0 would have been perfect. Do you want to go first or last?
Sure, I'll go first.
Okay.
It's not a lack of confidence. It's an ambiguity of the Sacramento series.
Sure.
It's still young. I don't know what that ballpark plays like, right? So you sit here and you go, okay, so the upcoming series, we got 3, 4, 5. So we got Vasquez, we got Pivetta, and we got Hart. It's still the back end of our rotation. I think if we're fortunate, we take 2 out of 3. I think that's a good series.
They're going with their top 3, aren't they?
Right. So it's a good series against a team that's playing well. And although I will say the nice thing, because of the team we're more of a moving the runners team, and it's supposed to be like 45 degrees and cold and rainy, so the ball's not going to travel as well. So I think that actually helps us when we go to those. The one that makes me nervous is going to the A's, and it's not that I think so much of the A's. It's just I don't like the ideal of a home run ballpark. It's like the 3-point shot in college basketball. Yeah. It can just, like all it takes is one team to get hot. They got a couple of good players. I'm going 4-2.
4-2.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Jack, what's your prediction?
I'm going to go the same, 4-2. because
All right.
I think the Cubs are starting off with what's his name, their top pitcher.
Imanaga.
Yeah, he's tough. I mean,
Imanaga. Yeah.
yeah, he's better than anything the Dodgers have. Just saying. So, but then the next two pitchers aren't as good, but it's in Wrigley, so I'll be happy if we can win 2 or 3. Like I think Jerry said, I'll be overjoyed. Oakland again, you never know with the A's, but we should be able to beat them, even if it is a home run park with our best pitchers going. So.
I'm gonna go 3-3 again, I guess.
Such a wiener.
Oz, I think Oz actually said 6-0 last time, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
so
she did.
She is the ultimate winner here. She says 5-1. I'll be realistic this time. And Eric is going along with Oz. So there you go.
Yeah, and the old saying is if you go 50-50 on the road and win at home, you'll be in the playoffs.
Exactly.
And, so I think there is some realism, all kidding aside. It wouldn't surprise me if they win and, swept again. It wouldn't, they're playing that well, but that it's going to come. It's going to be, there's going to be a time, when it won't happen,
Exactly.
And can I just say,
the guy on the radio said, I think there's no doubt in my mind. And I found this funny. No doubt in my mind, they're going to go 6-0. And then they're going to come home and lose the first game to the Rockies.
That's the series you got to worry about.
Which is probably true. I will say this, though. These games are played when I won't have to sit there and decide, do I want to go to sleep or do I want to stay up and watch the game?
Excited for that, for sure, for us East Coasters. All right. On that note, we'll wrap up this episode. Hit the subscribe and bell. We do these on Thursday nights at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. Next week might be a little bit earlier. I probably won't be here, but we'll have to see how it goes. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Eric, new member in the chat. Happy to have you here. Oz, great to have you as always. And again, happy 1-year anniversary, Jerry.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
You're welcome.
And Merrill Jackson thanks you too.
We'll see you all next time. Hasta luego. And goodbye.
Bye, everybody.